You know the feeling. It's late, you're finally kicking back after a crazy day, and that little craving for a snack just pops up. But right after that first bite, the guilt sets in, right? You start wondering, am I totally undoing all my healthy habits? For years, we've been told that eating late is just a one-way ticket to weight gain. Well, today we're going to dig into the science and find out what's really going on.
So, let's just get right to it. Is eating after 8 p.m. really the metabolic mistake everyone says it is? I mean, it's one of the most common pieces of diet advice out there, but is it actually based on solid science, or is it just one giant myth?
Okay, first things first, let's bust the biggest myth right now. The idea that calories you eat at night somehow have special powers to turn directly into fat, well, that's just not true. The fact is, your body doesn't really care what time it is. When it comes down to it, weight gain is all about a pretty simple formula. You're taking in more calories than you're burning. Period.
But hang on. If it were that simple, we could just end this whole thing right here. And yeah, while a calorie is technically a calorie, the story gets way more interesting. It turns out your body's ability to actually process those calories changes, like a lot, depending on the time of day.
And to understand why, we need to talk about the manager running your body's 24-hour factory, your internal clock. Seriously, think of it like the ultimate shift supervisor, deciding which departments are open for business and which ones should be shutting down for the night. Now, the official name for this manager is your circadian rhythm. It's this built-in 24-hour cycle that pretty much runs the whole show. Sleep, body temperature, hormones, and, most importantly for us, digestion. It's designed to get your body fired up and ready for action during the day, and then to power it down for rest and repair at night. So the big question is, how does this internal clock actually mess with how we process food? This is exactly where that simple, a calorie is a calorie idea really starts to fall apart.
Check this out. This data comes from a really cool study, and it paints a picture of two completely different metabolic worlds. In the morning at 8 a.m., your body is a champ at handling sugar. That's your glucose tolerance. And your muscles are super sensitive to insulin, just ready to suck up that energy. But by 8 p.m., it's a whole different story. Your body gets way less efficient at all of this.
So here's the bottom line. In the morning, your body's machinery is all revved up and ready to use food for immediate energy. But in the evening, as your body gets ready for its overnight break, it's much more likely to take those same calories and just shuttle them straight into storage.
But wait, there's another piece to this puzzle. It's not just about how our bodies process calories. It's also about what makes us want to eat them in the first place. And for that, we need to meet the real managers of hunger, our hormones. Let me introduce you to the two main players. First, you've got ghrelin. You can think of this as the go hormone. It's made in your stomach and it yells up to your brain, hey, it's time to eat. Then there's leptin, which is made by your fat cells. This is the stop hormone. It's the one that tells your brain, all right, we're good, you can stop now. And here's where it all connects back to our body clock. When your circadian rhythm gets all messed up, and a lack of sleep is a huge culprit here, these two critical hunger hormones get thrown completely out of whack.
And to see just how messy this can get, let's look at this incredible study from Stanford. Researchers looked at what happens to our hunger hormones when we only get 5 hours of sleep a night instead of a solid 8.
The results were frankly stunning. Ghrelin levels, that's our go hormone, remember, they shot up by almost 15%. So basically their bodies were just screaming, I'm hungry, all the time. And at the exact same time, their levels of leptin, the stop hormone, took a nosedive by over 15%. So not only were they way hungrier, but they also weren't getting the signal that they were full. It's this powerful, vicious 1-2 punch that just drives you to overeat. So what happens when this whole system of clocks and hormones just goes completely off the rails? Let's take a look at an extreme but really important example called night eating syndrome. Night eating syndrome, or NES, is not just having a bad habit of snacking at night. No, this is a recognized clinical disorder where the body's natural rhythms for eating and sleeping are totally disconnected. People with NES often eat a huge chunk of their daily calories late at night and have a really hard time sleeping. And just look at these numbers. They really tell the story. In the general population, NES affects about 1.5% of people. But that number jumps all the way to 10% in obesity clinics. And get this, among patients getting bariatric surgery, it's a staggering 25%. The link between this clock disruption and serious weight issues is just impossible to ignore. Now, it's also really important to know what makes NES different from other conditions. With NES, the person is totally aware that they're eating. They just feel like they can't control it. This is totally different from a sleep-related eating disorder, where someone is basically eating while they're sleepwalking and has zero memory of it the next day. All right, after all that science, I know what you're thinking. So, what are we supposed to do about it? Well, the good news is there's a lot we can do. The key is to stop fighting against our biology and start working with our body clock.
Here are 3 simple but incredibly powerful ways to get your circadian rhythm back on track. First, consistency is everything. Try to go to bed and wake up at roughly the same time every day. Yep, even on weekends. Second, manage your light. Getting bright light in the morning tells your clock to wake up, and keeping things dark at night signals it's time to rest. And third, regular exercise. It's one of the best tools we have for locking in our daily rhythm.
But of course, look, life happens. Even with perfect habits, you might still get hungry at night sometimes. And the goal here is never to just starve yourself. It's all about making a smarter choice. If you're genuinely hungry, go for something nutrient-dense, like some carrots and hummus, an apple with some nut butter, or even a little plain popcorn.
At the end of the day, the core message of all this science is summed up perfectly by Dr. Joseph Bass, who's a leading expert in this field. He says we need to think very carefully about when we eat so we can line it up with when our internal clock can best handle that food. It's not just about what you eat, it's about when you eat it. So you see, it's not really about some magic don't eat after 8 p.m. rule. It's about understanding our own biology. So the real question we should be asking ourselves isn't what time is it on the wall, it's what time is it for my internal clock? So are you eating on your body's time?